We explored an abandoned mine until something dragged itself toward us in the dark. What we heard next still haunts us. This is what happened. This happened less than a month ago. I'm a senior in high school, and I've lived in Nevada my entire life. There's not much going on around here, but one thing my friends and I have always enjoyed is urban exploration. We search for abandoned places, old buildings, forgotten tunnels, deserted malls, basically anything that looks neglected. We crawl through broken fences, snap photos, sometimes sneak up to rooftops or down into dark basements. It was never about vandalism or doing anything illegal. It was about the thrill. If you like this kind of stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. The one guy in our group who always found the strangest spots was Charles. He was quiet, a bit of a mystery. He'd always show up with new locations none of us had heard of. I rarely asked how he discovered them. One day, he sent us a screenshot from a sketchy Instagram page. It had few followers, blurry images, and tons of creepy comments. The caption on the post just said something like, "Dozens of abandoned mine shafts in the Mojave Desert if you know where to look." Charles claimed he had messaged the account, and the person behind it shared some locations to check. That was all it took for Charles. He was instantly hooked. That Saturday, it was just me, Charles, and our other friend James. I had a Wrangler that could handle desert trails, so we took it. We didn't have a real address, just a pin drop somewhere in the middle of the Mojave. The location Charles had saved was deep in the desert, far from anything. We had left the main road nearly 30 minutes ago, and the dirt path we were on barely resembled a road. We drove around forever. No signs, no buildings, nothing to indicate we were close. I kept checking my phone, even though I knew there was no signal. James, sitting in the back, was growing frustrated. He started complaining that Charles had been duped by a troll account, and this was all a waste of time. But Charles insisted we keep going. He's always been stubborn when it comes to directions, so I let it slide and drove a bit longer. Just when we were about to give up, James noticed something off to the right. At first, it looked like more rocks and sand, but as we got closer, we spotted it. A partially collapsed wooden structure built into a slope. The entrance looked like it had caved in, but you could still see a dark opening behind the beams. It wasn't big, but it was clearly human-made. Definitely a mine. Charles didn't say a word. He pulled out his phone, opened the offline map he had downloaded earlier, and marked the spot. Then he turned to James and said, "Told you." James rolled his eyes and said it was just luck. But honestly, even I had to admit, it was wild. We had been driving in circles in the middle of nowhere, and somehow we found exactly what we were looking for. I parked a few feet from the entrance, on a flat patch of dirt. We all got out and geared up. Charles even brought masks for us to wear. As we approached the shaft, it looked even more dangerous up close. Charles picked up a rock and tossed it in. We waited. A few seconds later, we heard it clatter 3 times, then silence. It was deep. Charles looked at us and said if we slipped on the way down, we probably wouldn't survive. Then we started descending. Luckily, it wasn't a vertical drop. It was steep, but we could walk. The floor was loose and uneven, lined with old wooden supports. Surprisingly, they felt sturdy. The deeper we went, the colder and quieter it got. It was really unsettling. Eventually, we couldn't even see light from the entrance anymore. We finally reached what seemed like the bottom. The shaft leveled out into a broader tunnel that branched off in several directions. It looked exactly like you'd picture it. Dust-covered rails, rusted metal, broken wooden planks, maybe old equipment or carts. The air was stale, which made me really appreciate the masks. We picked one tunnel and began walking. No one said much. We weren't searching for anything, just exploring. There wasn't much down there. It looked like anything valuable had already been taken. Then we heard it, a faint sound coming from deeper inside the tunnel. Something being dragged. At first, I thought I imagined it, but then I saw Charles stop. James motioned for us to turn off our flashlights. We did. We stood there in complete darkness, listening. The dragging sound came again. It was like metal, or maybe wood, scraping along the floor. Hard to tell with the echo, but it was definitely getting closer. We waited in silence. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe a full minute. It was hard to say. The noise kept coming, growing louder. Still not close, but close enough to be terrifying. Then James accidentally flicked his flashlight on, then off. I wanted to strangle him. The dragging stopped. Everything went silent. And then, out of nowhere, a loud metallic crash echoed from deep in the tunnel, followed by the most horrifying, inhuman scream I've ever heard. We didn't think. We just ran. Fast. I've never moved so quickly in my life. I could hear footsteps behind me. I thought I was going to pass out from panic. I was trailing behind, trying to keep up, when I tripped. One of my shoes came off. I tried not to fall, but didn't stop to get it back. I just kept running, pain shooting through my foot. Up ahead, Charles and James were already climbing the slope. I hurled myself up after them. Climbing those stairs half barefoot was pure agony. I'm not exaggerating. Every few steps, a new splinter jabbed into my foot. If it weren't for the adrenaline, I don't think I would have made it out. When I finally reached daylight, my foot was wrecked. James and Charles had to help me to the car. I couldn't drive, so James took the wheel. I barely got the door shut before he sped off. I don't know if something was chasing us, but we weren't sticking around to find out. We drove in silence all the way to the hospital. The pain almost knocked me out. I needed a tetanus shot, and once they cleaned all the wounds and removed the splinters, I still couldn't walk properly for days. A few days later, once I could walk again, James told us he lost his wallet, probably near the mine while helping me to the car. He hadn't said anything before, but now he thought it was worth going back. Just to the entrance, though. No way were we going back inside. So, we returned using the pin Charles had saved. We never found James' wallet, but we did find something else, my missing shoe. It was lying a few feet from a mine. I walked over cautiously and picked it up. It was torn up, like something had bitten it. There were actual bite marks, and whole chunks of it were missing. We didn't stay long after that. None of us can explain it. Sure, maybe someone was living down there, but how could they survive with no food? Charles said the Instagram account never responded when he messaged them about what happened. It'll be a long time before I do any desert exploring again. Have you ever had a terrifying exploration experience? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy abandoned locations, mine exploration, or real horror stories, make sure to like and subscribe for more chilling adventures.